Hello everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me and see me. Just setting up the live stream now. How's everyone doing today? Okay. Just setting up here. Okay, so welcome everyone. As you know, my name is Robin Shaw. I'm a Canadian teacher living and working in Korea. So if you don't know me, that's my introduction. But I think most of you know me. I'm trying to do 4 live streams a week, and you saw the schedule on this video before I started the live stream. You saw the schedule. So the next one I think is Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday, and then you can see the topics too. Okay, so as always, my live streams start 1:30 Universal Time and 10:30 p.m. in Korea. So if you have not subscribed to my channel and hit the bell for notifications, you won't be notified about my live streams. But you can remember the time, okay? And as always, liking the live streams helps a lot. So please, if you like it, please hit the like button. And if you want to participate in the chat, you have to log into YouTube. You have to have a YouTube account, and you can participate in the chat. I recommend you participate in the chat because I'm always looking at the chat to see what everyone is saying. Okay? So do that. And of course, there's links below if you want to contact me directly. I recommend WhatsApp, but I also use HelloTalk, Line, everything. Check the links. You can find me. And as always, the structure of my live stream is first I do an introduction. That's what I'm doing now. And then I'll get into the topic. And then after, we'll have English Q&A. You guys can ask me questions and I will answer. Okay, so that's the usual setup of my live stream. And then let's get into, well, before I get into the topic, I'm going to check the who's in the chat room just to say hello. Give a little more time for people, late people. So I've said hello to some people. Going down the list here, Lily Layla. She is my fan. I always appreciate you, Layla. You're very nice. You're a very sweet woman. Tom knows the woman, or Tom knows the woman. Tom knows the student I'm going to talk about tonight. Tom's my friend. I hear Tom used to live in Taiwan. He's moving to China. I think he's in Hong Kong right now. Welcome, Tom. And Florin, Grace, and David, and Nurain, Thanthan Nui, again, I don't know how to pronounce, Kim, Hajin Young, Hajin Young, welcome. Okta, welcome. Okay. Thank you guys for joining, and let's start my topic. My best student. So, of course, I have many great students, and a lot of my great students are actually chatting tonight with me now. So, you know, I don't want to pick one student as my great student, but I guess I have to because I'm doing a topic about my best student. But I'll tell you the reasons why I think he was a good student when he's studying English, and I'll talk about that tonight. But before I talk about my best student, I'm just going to talk about me and my teaching style, so everyone can understand me as a teacher, and then why did I choose this student as my best student. So I'll talk about being a teacher first. Okay, I'm just checking the chats. Florin, is it a prize for that, for the best student? Yes, Florin, the prize is always a smile. Susanna, hello. Hello, Susanna. All right, so the English teacher's job, as an English teacher, I have to teach complex or difficult grammar, vocabulary, and I got to teach that stuff in an easy way for my students to understand. So that's the basic English teacher's job, trying to get the students to use grammar, use new vocabulary. That's our basic job. Okay. Of course, we have to motivate students. That's really hard here in Korea, but that's part of the job, and that's what I do. I also have to direct students to good resources. So, I have to give students tools to help them improve their English. I can't do everything, so I have to point at this website or this app, or recommend a book, or recommend a TV show. So good teachers, I think, also have to get students using English resources outside the classroom. And it's part of my job to show, okay, you can use this at home or this on the subway to improve your English. As I get older and older, I'm becoming more of a mentor, helping students on life choices, giving them good advice on how to study English. Not just how to study English, but also students ask me where to study English if they're going to another country. So I give them advice on that. I give them advice on which country to study English. And actually, that's a good topic in a future video, my recommendation for the best countries to study English. So that's part of my job. And yeah, I help to prepare students for tests, interviews, speeches, presentations. I do this every week. Students need help with something, and I help them. I see Tom, USA, of course. Well, Tom, I would not recommend the USA. And, the USA is fine, but I think there's better countries. I'll talk about that in another video, Tom. You can just complain in the chat. Anyway, and English teachers, I think you should appreciate English teachers, or the good ones, because we don't always ask for money, right? We give a lot of our free time to help students, especially if I'm helping them prepare for tests, interviews, speeches, or presentations. I have to do this outside of the class, and I'm usually almost never paid for that work. So you should appreciate a good teacher who helps you outside of the class. And you should stay away from teachers who are always asking you for money. Give me money, and I'll teach you my special way. I don't really like those teachers. Okay, so that's kind of my job. This list is just a short list. Of course, I do many things, and English teachers have to do many things, but these are the main things. Part of my teaching philosophy is my job is to point, not carry. What I mean is, every day students come to me and they ask, Robin, how do I improve my English, or how do I study English? So, if they're in my class, I can help them, but if I'm not in the class, I have to point. Okay, you should do this, you should look at this, you should go there, and you do that, and that will help you improve your English. But I find a lot of students want me to carry them. They want me to do the work for them. No, I really don't like those kind of students. So I like students when I point and you should do that to improve your English, and you should do that without me. You don't need me, you can do that alone. So if I point and the student does that by themselves, is not dependent only on me, I think that's a good student and a better way for the student to improve. And the student I'm going to talk about tonight, I pointed, wherever I pointed, he followed. He went there, he did that. So that's one reason he's the best student. Every piece of advice I gave him, he usually followed. Let's move on. Also, I help students who deserve to be helped, okay? I don't help everyone, because my time is precious. If I'm in the classroom, yes, it's my job to help every student in the classroom. That's what I'm being paid for. But outside the classroom, I still help a lot of students for free, right? I don't ask for any money, but I'll spend time to check essays or check pronunciation, things like that. So I like students who deserve to be helped. And what I mean by deserve to be helped is they are showing effort to improve their English. So first of all, I have to see that they're sincere, that they really want to improve their English. They're passionate, and they'll do whatever it takes to improve their English. So if I see a student like that, okay. So when I do help that student, they're going to listen. Now, there's a lot of students that contact me every day. I give them advice, but they're not really going to follow that. They want me to carry them. Okay, they're not following where I point. So that's part of my philosophy. I don't help everyone. So if I help you, I think you deserve the help. Okay. And again, I think most of you know from my previous videos, I want my students to learn through authentic English. So authentic is not classroom English. Again, this is real life English, real life interactions, real life writing, not classroom. Let's practice writing. Let's practice speaking. I don't like that kind of English. I always try to get my students to do authentic English and use authentic English materials like newspapers and not the textbooks. Okay, so that's part of my teaching philosophy. And the next one. I still have to help late bloomers. So what is a late bloomer? Well, the word bloom, I'll write it on the board. So as you know, the flower blooms. We say the verb blooms. The flower blooms. So a late bloomer is usually a young person who didn't know how to study English when they were young, and still they're asking for help, but they don't really understand what they need to do or the effort. But I think eventually everyone will bloom, which means they wake up, they realize, I have to work hard. Okay, so a lot of my students at the college now are late bloomers. They don't really care about English. I'm still helping them, but I hope they bloom soon so I can help them more. But a lot of them, it takes a long time for them to bloom. All right, so that's basically my philosophy. And the first 3 points, the student I'm going to talk about tonight, help that or follow that. The last thing I'm going to talk about my philosophy is I'm very direct and tough. So I don't think any of my students in the classroom are going to say, Robin is a nice teacher. Because I'm not very nice in the classroom. I'm very direct, telling them their mistakes. I'm very tough on getting them to fix their mistakes and study. So I think at my school, I'm one of the toughest teachers. And it's disappointing to some students because when they first join my class, they're expecting the fun, happy English teacher. Hi, guys. But no, they're getting the strict, tough teacher who's pushing them every week to improve their writing. And the student I'm going to talk about tonight, I was tough on him. I was really tough on him. And we had some fights about that. But maybe I regret a little bit, but some of it I don't regret. All right, so this is the student I'm going to talk about, Hyungwoo Jo. And he's not in the video here because he is in the USA right now. So he's not on screen, but he is watching this video now, and I think he's in the chat. So if you have questions for him, I think you can ask him. I don't know. I didn't ask him if you can ask questions, but he's in the chat room. He's watching everything I'm going to talk about tonight. He doesn't know what I'm going to talk about, but anyway, this is him. Oh, there he is. He said hello. Oh, hello, Seema, too. All right, so Hyungwoo, I met in, I think it was 2016, so not long ago. It might have been 2015. I don't know, Hyungwoo, do you remember? 2015, 2016. It wasn't, must be, I don't know. And the interesting thing, he was never in my class. So he technically was not my student, okay? He was not in my class. And he was actually a student of another professor at my school. And he would visit the other professor in the office, but actually, if I don't know the student, I don't really talk to them. And then he joined, I had an extra speaking group, like 25 minutes a week, and he joined that. And then I got to know him very well. The first time, my first impression of Hyungwoo was he was a little annoying. Sorry, Hyungwoo, because he was so passionate about English and talking to a native speaker, and I was the quiet, grumpy teacher in the office. So I didn't really like students who are too eager to speak English all the time. But anyway, I got over that. Hyungwoo he got less annoying over time. But his coming into the office to talk to the English professors, although it may have bothered some English professors, it did help him improve his English. So it was a good strategy from his side. And I like your hair in that picture. Well, we met in 2015, but you officially started helping me in 2016. Okay. And Florin is probably going to ask a lot of questions, so sorry, Hyungwoo, but do your best to give advice. Florin, I'm going to talk about Hyungwoo in this video. All right, so I've been talking to Hyungwoo the past few days, and he sent me a lot of information, and we're trying to decide how he learned English, and this is kind of what he thinks helped him to improve his English. So he told me that he joined a website called Interpals. I'm not promoting the website. They don't give me any money. Just this is what Hyungwoo said. He promoted this website for making friends around the world, and he started to make friends around the world. Before he went to an English class with a native English speaker, he just started to make friends around the world, and then of course with that he improved his reading and writing. Well, not really writing, text writing more, I think, or I guess, I don't know, Hyungwoo, if you were writing long emails, maybe, if you had to write long emails to your pen pals. So he started there. And then he said he watched TV shows, again, reading subtitles, English subtitles, and he practices listening. So that's what he did next. Then he met native speakers at the school. So he met some of my coworkers first before he met me. And of course, that I think was a big trigger to lift his English up even higher. It improved his English a lot, of course, to start meeting the teachers at the school. And, the teachers liked him. He's a nice guy. Then Toastmasters. I took him to Toastmasters. He didn't know what Toastmasters was. Just one night I said, let's go to this place. He followed me. He trusted me. And there is, Toastmasters is a speech club, not an English club. It's a speech club. So there's some foreigners there practicing how to improve their public speaking. So I brought him there, and he could see right away that people are going up to give speeches. And then the new people, Hyungwoo and I, we were new that night, so they asked us to give a quick speech, 1 minute. I went up, I gave a speech on some topic, I don't remember. And then it was Hyungwoo's turn to go up. He went up, and he had to give, I think, a minute or a minute and 20 seconds speech in English. And he froze. He didn't know what to say. He couldn't say anything. And I was at the back laughing because this was very funny, but he was up at the front. And then he asked if he could speak Korean, and I said no. Anyway, it was absolute disaster for Hyungwoo to go to the Toastmasters the first night. Anyway, at that point, I said to him, Toastmasters is every Tuesday. You should come back without me. And then from that, he went back. And I think he went there for 8 months. I don't know, Hyungwoo, how long did you go there? But wow, that was probably the most impressed I was about Hyungwoo, because any other student in that situation, they had to go up, they had to give a speech, they froze. Another student would probably, I'm never going back there. Okay, they would decide, I'm never going back there. That was a terrible experience. I don't want to go there again. Not Hyungwoo. So he decided that was a challenge, and then he went back, and I think he conquered at Toastmasters. That really helped him. And you see, I have the skills improve, integrated 4 core English skills. So reading, writing, listening, speaking. He practiced all of these skills and improved them over at his time at Toastmasters. So I think Toastmasters was very significant for Hyungwoo. And that's going back to I'm pointing. I'm not carrying. So I pointed to Toastmasters. I said go there, and he went there. I didn't have to go there. He did it alone by himself, and he improved his English without me. And then we decided that he's going to go to the USA, where he is now. He's studying to be a pilot. He needed TOEFL, so we started TOEFL preparation. Most of it he did by himself, but I encouraged him to read a lot and to practice writing, practice the 4 skills. I encouraged that, and he was successful. So from when he started to prepare the TOEFL to when he ended, it was about 8 months, I think. I don't know. You can answer that, Hyungwoo. And he was successful, and he was accepted into university, and he's studying now. So all of these things helped him to very quickly, within probably a year and a half or less, to improve his English so fast. So fast. So within 2 years, I would say, he went from beginner to advanced. Just 2 years. And for you who know the European framework about the language level, I would say he went from an A1 to a C1 in 2 years. That's pretty good. In America now, of course, he's going to be fluent very soon. He's just going to be fluent in English. So, good student. So that was his journey. Why was he successful? Well, he had some habits that I noticed. The first being he kept detailed notes and reviewed them. So whatever people said to him, whatever people taught him, he always wrote it down, and he tried to remember or memorize what he's been taught. So that was one of his habits that I think really helped him to be successful, not just in anything he does, but English too. He kept the notes, he reviewed them about everything. He never considered his mistakes as a failure. He made a lot of mistakes. I would sometimes laugh at his mistakes, but to him, I don't think they were failures. Just he saw it as, oh, this is something I have to improve on. Okay? And very important, he had strong motivation. So he had English-speaking friends. First he started with professors, and then when he went to Toastmasters, he made friends from other countries. So that's strong motivation. You can only talk to these English-speaking friends in English, and he wanted to make friends. So it was easy for him to make friends. And he's going to an American university, so this is strong motivation to really, really try at English. And he put in the time and effort. This is again why I decide some students don't deserve my help, because Rob and I want to learn English, but I don't have any time to do anything. How can I learn the quick way? No, there's no quick way. You need time and you need effort. Okay, you got to spend time every day to study English. You got to do it. There's no secret way to improve your English, and he did it. Okay, good strategy. Time and effort. If you have the time and effort, do it. Let me adjust that. He was diligent, persistent, and consistent. So what does that mean? Diligent. He worked hard. He put in the effort. So, he wakes up in the morning. He would have a schedule, a very detailed schedule. He would do the work. So he was very diligent student. Persistent. So although he encountered many problems, he was persistent, which means he kept trying. He never gave up. the Toastmasters. He failed. Everyone's watching him. He's supposed to speak. He can't speak. That's a nightmare for most people. No, not to him. He kept going. He was very persistent and consistent, which is also important because if you're studying English, you need a plan. Okay, what is my plan? How am I going to study English? And you do it every day. If you can't do it every day, you do it every 2 days. Or if, whatever time you have, you got to be consistent. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. He went to Toastmasters every Tuesday for months. Okay, he didn't stop. So a lot of my students, they learn English and then they stop. I'm going to take a break 6 months. Well, in that 6 months, your English you're forgetting it. It's getting worse. You're getting out of practice. Be consistent. Keep doing it. And he did all these things, so I think that's why he was successful. And the last reason he was successful is our relationship, of course, was teacher-student, but we spent so much time together, and he never paid a dime to me. I never got any money from Hyungwoo about anything. But he did become my friend. So when he became my friend, I had no problem to help him to improve his English. If he sends a message, no problem. I'll answer him. If he has some English questions, if he has some writing, no problem. He's my friend. And as a friend, of course, friendship works two ways. If I need help with something, I ask him because he's my friend. I don't see him as a student anymore. He's my friend. I'll check the chat room. Oh, there's lots of stuff happening in the chat. I don't think I can read all that right now. Oh, okay. Oh, lots of questions. Lots of questions for Hyungwoo. Well, thank you, Hyungwoo, for answering in the chat. Tom, if you're still here, you can ask Hyungwoo some questions to improve your English. Hyungwoo's level was beginner. He was a strong beginner. He wasn't level 0. But he was a beginner when I first met him. All right. So as a friend, we took some trips together. Here we are in Busan. I think that was June. We went to Busan. And Mongolia, we went there, I think in July. And Nepal. And India. We went to the Taj Mahal in India. So we traveled together, and I'm sure we'll travel again in the future because he's my friend. Okay, guys, a few questions. I feel sometimes when I'm doing these live streams, my English is terrible. Don't pick up my bad habits. Wait a moment. Okay. What makes a good English teacher? What do you think? So tell me in the comments. Like, if you had a good English teacher, what made that English teacher good to you? Or who was your favorite English teacher? Let me know. And are you diligent, persistent, and consistent? Let me know. Excuse me. That water. Nice photos, Noreen. Hyungwoo and I did uh, we did a podcast. I'll put the link in the. Okay. Putting the link of our podcast. So we did a podcast on my other channel, so you can check that out. Susanna, you're the best teacher, sir. Well, thank you. I don't think I'm the best. Just my style is different than other teachers. So, oh, bothering. Who's your bothering teacher, Grace? So, Grace, do you want me to bother you? I'm your favorite English teacher. 3, I will be. Well, diligence is hard, of course, and persistence, consistent, all of these things are hard to do. You know, it takes a lot of effort. And nobody can do it like Hyungwoo, I think. One of your high school teachers, Carrie, why was your high school teacher your favorite? Did they teach English? Florin, a good teacher is someone that adapts from student to student. Yes. Usually I teach mixed classes, so there can be high-level students and low-level students, and their economic situation can be different too. Poor students, rich students, and some of those students have tutors, some of them don't have tutors, and each of them have individual language needs, and I try to help each student, but sometimes that's difficult because my regular classroom has 40 students, and my WhatsApp chat groups are like 100 students, so I help when I can. Carrie Page, not really, but I'm trying. To number 3, yeah. I know you are. Andre, not explain everything makes me find out. That's a good teacher. Rosa, thank you very much, Rosa. Number 2 is me. Rosa, you should be studying now. You have a test. You can watch this later. And Hyungwoo Florin, yeah, he's talking to Florin there. And Andre, oh, thank you, Andre. Thank you very much. All right, guys. That's my topic tonight. Let's move on here. I can see that this topic is going faster than usual topics. I don't want to keep you guys too long, so I guess we'll move into the Q&A. If you have any questions, English questions, easy English questions. I don't want to go into detail about grammar, guys. Grammar takes a lot of research. Make sure I don't make a mistake. And if you have questions, please provide example sentences. So if you have any questions about English, let me know. Tell me about anything. Florin, I have questions for Robin. Florin, you always have good questions, and you always have many questions. So start typing the questions, Florin. Grace has the first question. It's a writing question. My specialty is writing, so in the future I'll do writing lessons. Colon, semicolon, dash. What's those of Finn's job when I'm reading? Oh, Grace, I don't understand your question. The thing's job when you're reading? Well, let me go to the board. Need my eraser. Bloom. For the colon. Colons are usually used with lists. So if you have a long list, so colons are usually used for lists. If pick up these groceries. Groceries is food at the supermarket. Milk, cheese, bread. Milk, cheese, bread. However you want to write the list. Usually before a list we use a colon. And giving information. So on a form, country, colon, Canada. Those are the two main reasons we use colons. There's other reasons, but you should tell me directly if you have an example sentence. The semicolon is if you have two clauses, two really separate clauses in one sentence, but usually these days people are not using semicolon because they don't know how to use it. And the dash, what was it? Oh God, you guys I have to go back. You're asking so many questions. The dash or hyphen, actually it has so many reasons. And you know what, Grace? What I'll do is I'll prepare a lesson on the colon, semicolon, and dash because there's so many ways to use those that would take. I should do a lesson on punctuation in the future. So, I'll have to pass on giving more information on that question, Grace, because there's so many ways to use those things. Flora, and how I decide which words in vocabulary should I add depending of places and situation. Well, Florin, you should learn all vocabulary, but of course we don't have time to learn all vocabulary. So when you pick up the vocabulary book, you don't know which is useful, which is not useful. Well, my advice is never pick up the vocabulary book. Again, you want authentic learning, so the new vocabulary you learn should be in the situation you're in or you're dealing with. So, for example, Florin, well, if you meet other foreigners for business, when you meet these foreigners, they're going to use vocabulary. There's a kind of international business language. You should know that. But if you're just meeting foreigners casually, generally speaking, we don't. Casual speaking doesn't use so many difficult words like CNN or BBC. You could probably just learn from the context. And of course, reading books, any vocabulary you see in a novel is very useful vocabulary. Seema, they told us at school to use it when we want to talk about an animal, but you use he or she Why? Yeah, an animal. Technically, an animal is an it. That's the grammar rule. Animals are it. But as humans, animals become our pets and part of the family. Maybe not food animals like cows and chickens and whatnot. They stay its. We don't give them names. But, you know, my cat, I don't have a cat, but if I have a cat and it's a female cat, yeah, it's part of my family. I might say she's hungry. So, in speaking, it's perfectly fine to say your pet, he or she. No problem. Yeah, Grace, recently I'm reading a book. I see the colon, semicolon, dash a lot. Yeah, those are going to be used in books, uh, book punctuation. But for a lot of students, writing is dying, okay? Writing, every year, writing is dying. And it's sad because my students, I used to teach a lot of writing, but these days my students just reject the writing because the only writing they need is sending a text message. Uh, so yeah, Grace, I'll do that in a future lesson. I'll make sure you understand all of that in a future lesson. Flora and Robin, how can I anticipate which topic will be discussed in English to prepare my vocabulary for that? Well, Florin, that's part of becoming fluent in English because we should not be preparing beforehand. You should be practicing, not preparing. So when you meet the foreigner for the first time and you didn't prepare, that is the natural, authentic way. So you have to learn skills of chit chat, how to break the ice. You have to learn those skills. Don't prepare beforehand. Okay, I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask this question. You should be ready with those skills. I'm going to meet someone. I didn't prepare. How do I talk to that person? What can I do? What kind of strategy or what kind of skills do I have to have this conversation? So for you, I would recommend I know your level. You shouldn't be preparing unless you're doing a job interview. Don't prepare before you meet someone. All right. Grace says, thank you. I find out if I keep going to read books. Yes, Grace, every book you read, your brain is watching the colons and semicolons and dashes, and your brain is learning. You might not think so, and you're getting a sense. The more exposure you have to that, you'll understand. Hyungwoo, Robin, you have helped advise me on a lot of things, including English improvement in the past. What was the hardest thing while teaching me? No, that's a difficult question. The hardest thing teaching you probably is to make sure you stay focused and on task, especially when you are studying for the TOEFL, which you didn't have much time to study for the TOEFL. So, I was a little bit worried at that time. So I probably bothered you to make sure you keep reading. Don't spend time don't socialize so much. That was probably difficult for me trying to make sure you stay focused and on task, which you did because you succeeded. But in life these days, it's very easy to go out, meet friends, or play computer games, or watch TV. But you overcame those obstacles. But I was stressed at that time that you were not doing enough. Susanna, my pet's name Coco. Is your Coco a dog or a cat or a bird? Is your Coco a he or she? Florin, Robin, am I too old for comic books? No, no. Comic book style of reading is very good because comic books don't give all information. When you read a comic book, there's few words, but those few words are very powerful and you have to understand. So comic books is not a childish way to study. It is a good way to study English. And comic books are shorter, so you can get the material in a shorter amount of time. All right, Rosa, bye. Thank you for joining. Okay, excuse me. Oh, and Grace asks, within, inside. I did find myself within the pages of the book or inside. It's much warmer inside the house. I think number one, within, and number two is inside. I think inside. You're inside a building, inside a room, inside a house. So I think your question is more within. You can't use both. Within. I got to think of an example right away. Well, let's use your example. Within the pages of the book. So the book is not a room. So your kind of spirit is in the pages of the book, within the pages of the book. That's a difficult question. Here, let me see if there's a quick example on Google. I try not to go to Google, but it does say within can be used sometimes the same as inside. That is correct. But within is usually used as a preposition. So it makes sense. If I said I will meet you within a week, sometimes it's in a week, within a week. So this would be more as a preposition. Inside is a preposition too, but we tend to use inside for buildings. It is possible I will meet you inside a week, but that's not so common. We would say within a week. So to answer your question, you can use both, but you can see with me, I don't know every case. Some cases, yes. Some cases, no. I would have to see example sentences to know. So for now, I would just say with and inside are the same family. Sometimes they mean the same thing, but depending on the situation, they can be very different. Sorry, I can't talk about every case now. Layla, if I follow your advice, I can get to Hyungwoo level? Yes, Layla, you can. But Hyungwoo does have an advantage now. He's living in America. Every day he's practicing English with native speakers. His friends are native speakers, his professors, native speakers. So he has a big advantage now. Fanny, what is Toastmasters? Toastmasters is an international speech club. They're in every major city in the world. So, Fanny, if you look in your area, which city is your area? If you look in your area, maybe on Facebook or Google, Toastmasters, the name of your city, you should be able to find a Toastmasters. I'm just looking at the questions. Andre, so within equals inside with no physical object. It can, Andre, but not every case. So, Grace and Andre, you want to know the rules of when to use within, when to use inside. There's not one rule, there's not two rules, there's going to be many rules, and I don't remember all the rules right now. So, as I said, same family, but different. Do you know another international speech club than Toastmasters? No, I don't, Florian. Sorry. Robin and Hyungwoo Joe, the question is for you. No, I don't know another speech club. Sorry, Florian. All right, guys, I'm going to close this up in the next couple of minutes. So if you have any last questions, get them in the chat. Okay, Grace, in search of, in order of, people move from the town to the countryside in search of a quieter life. People move from the town to the countryside in order to live a quieter life. Yeah, those would mean very similar sentences. And I would say basically the same. The only difference would be in search of means they didn't find it yet. We don't know if they found it yet. And in order to means they did find it. So there's a little difference, but basically they mean the same thing. That was an easy question. Because search, you're searching. It doesn't mean you found it. Robin and Hyungwoo, I still have a question for you. Question. That's not a question. Yes, that's a statement. Okay, you retracted it, Florian. Just ask the questions. Hyungwoo, Robin, do you believe staying abroad is a must to improve English ability? That's a very interesting question, Hyungwoo. So, well, yes. The quick answer is yes, of course. If anyone is in an English-speaking country, they should be better if they're participating in that country. Because I've seen a lot of students just go to Vancouver in Canada. They just go to the private school, meet their friends from their same country. So I've seen those students fail at improving their English. They'll spend a year there and their English won't get better. But if you're going to another country and you interact with native English speakers, you will get better. Is it a must? If you want to be fluent, I would say it's a must. To be fluent in English, you should live in an English-speaking country. Is it impossible to be fluent without going to an English-speaking country? It's possible to be fluent. It's possible, but it's very, very hard. If you go to an English-speaking country, it's easy. Now, Hyungwoo, let's think about this, Hyungwoo. If you didn't go to America, how would your English be now? Or what level would you be now? Would you be the same as you are in America now? No. You would probably be lower advanced or high intermediate. Okay. But now you're at least high advanced. So America has helped you. And would you be fluent if you stayed in Korea? If you stayed in Korea, I would always tell you, Hyungwoo, you don't need to be fluent. If you're only staying in Korea, let's just get you advanced, and that's enough. Florian, do you consider going to church to communicate in English? I don't know your religion, Florian, but many people go to church to practice English. That can help you. All right, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm going to finish up the live stream now. It's over an hour. And starting to get tired. The longer the live stream, the more my brain is starting to sleep and more difficult to answer questions. And I don't want to give the wrong answers. I see Andre jumped in with a quick question. Simple question. How do you pronounce this symbol? So we in English we pronounce that. We just want to say at. So my email is robinprime@hotmail.com. Ahmad, nice to see you. All right, guys, I'm going to finish it up now. Save your questions. If I didn't answer your questions, ask me again on Thursday for our next live stream. I can't think of what. I don't even know my Thursday live stream topic. I wrote it there. Anyway, I'll see you guys Thursday. I'll go to the chat rooms, especially WhatsApp. If you got any questions, you can ask me there. And I think that's it. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about Hyungwoo, and I hope you enjoyed talking to Hyungwoo, and I hope you learned something today, and I hope it makes you speak better English. All right, guys, so I'll see you in the future. Bye.